the last time we talked was in '94, and which is a long time ago. And a lot of things. Do you actually mind taking your glasses off? You have such beautiful eyes. You do.
All right, thanks. Go on.
And
Shucks. Gone all shy now. Oh, go on.
and
Spit it out.
well, you worked on the Murder Ballads back then.
Yeah.
And you know, and you told me it was a side project. Well, we all know now what happened. So could you tell me a little bit what your initial idea actually was about the Murder Ballads, and you know how it developed then after it was released?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, I'd written a. I'm sorry, I gotta start in.
Rough day.
Try and take this seriously. Right. I wrote a couple of songs, O'Malley's Bar and Song of Joy, I think they were. And they were two very long songs. One of them, I don't know, O'Malley's Bar's 10 minutes long or something like that, 13 minutes, is it? I can't remember, it's very long anyway. And I really liked these songs, but they didn't, particularly O'Malley's Bar, but they didn't kind of, they never kind of fitted on any record that we were making around that time. They'd been floating around for a fair while, and so I think that the idea came along that we'd make a Murder Ballads record to accommodate these two songs, really. And you know, but we didn't take it very seriously. We took it. I mean, it was an idea that's been floating around for a long time, back since the end of the Birthday Party, to make an album of just Murder Ballads. So it wasn't taken very seriously, but and we recorded it very quickly and wrote the songs very quickly.
And then you did the duet with Kylie.
And we did the duets as well. And then it became a hit.
Yeah. I mean, in your long career, I mean, this was the first hit you had. What this commercial success? You know, how did that change things for you, and how did you feel about that? That it actually came, you know, through a record which you didn't even consider as a.
Well, I mean, I think we all just sort of sat back and looked at it with a certain kind of healthy sense of irony about the whole thing, because I mean, because I think it would be fairly true to say that the people would have bought the album. A lot of people would have bought the album on the strength of the Kylie song, and the album isn't really like that at all. And so there was a certain kind of satisfaction about knowing that you could get that we could get our records into the kind of living rooms of people where they don't really belong. That was there's something satisfying in that. You know, I had little kids come up to me and say, "You're that old bastard who sings with Kylie Minogue, aren't you?" and stuff like that. And, but I was kind of, for a week or two, as a well-known face around town. But that all kind of, it all sort of settled down, and I'm back, you know, living in obscurity again. That's quite nice as well.
Yeah, I mean.
Could you guys keep it down, please?
Could you?
We actually reserved this area for this time. About 10 minutes.
No, a bit longer.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, for you, I mean, you're always been kind of shy, you know, and suddenly the spotlight was on you everywhere. You had to do all this MTV Raycode thing, and that must have been kind of awkward for you, was it?
All promotion for me is awkward. You know, it doesn't sit well for me in any form, whether it's MTV or whether it's this or whether it's anything. It's all the same to me. It's all. It's all talking about stuff that actually I'd rather not talk about, that I don't really think needs to be talked about. I don't really think it does anybody much good, me doing this sort of thing. But at the same time, I have a very kind of strong working relationship with my record company, and they give me absolute freedom to do whatever I like, and the band freedom to do whatever we want to do. And I think part of the kind of deal is that I do a certain amount of promotion. So that's kind of the way I look at it, or justify doing it, really.
After the Murder Ballads, which were, you know, stories and narrative stories which had nothing to do with your life, and I don't know, but I mean, in a way, I thought you might have exercised in a way this kind of, you know, storytelling and your likes of murder stories and stuff, and I remember that at the same time you already wrote songs for the Boatmans Call. Do you think that was almost like you exercised one thing to allow the other one really to come up?
I don't know. I think that you know, the Murder Ballads was dealing with something that I dealt with a lot anyway, and you know, I've always written songs like that, and I'd been writing songs like that all my life. And the Boatmans Call songs were kind of new in that they were very much tied to experience, and they were really a kind of poetic articulation of what was going on in my life, and that in a way is quite a new thing for me to do. To do it so boldly, I guess, and so. I mean, I think that all my songwriting's been kind of heading towards that, towards this anyway. I think that when we put out a record, the last record we put out, which is the best of record, looking at that, it made things quite clear to me about what I've actually been banging on about all these years, and I think that I have been kind of trying to write a particular sort of song, and probably going about it in a lot of wrong ways, but trying to work out how to write a particular sort of song, and it is I'm trying to write a great love song in some way, and I guess that's been my kind of mission in some sort of a way, and that becomes clearer. I mean, there's been escapades into other things, but that's basically what I've been trying to do, and I mean, I think that it just becomes more and more so. The more I write, the more the new stuff that I've been writing is more along those lines as well. Really, I still have I still get a real kick out of writing aggressively and violently. I still have a real fondness for kind of violent language, and that always sort of pokes its head in my most tender of love songs, probably. But anyway, that's what I've been trying to do, I think.
I mean, to me, the Boatmans Call was your most fearless and brave record in many ways. From the singing, because you couldn't hide, or you didn't hide behind a lot of instrumentation. And you carry all the songs basically with your voice, and also from the lyrics. And I can imagine, I mean, writing them and performing them, but then you have people like me who ask questions about it, and because they are so personal and so, fragile in a way.
Well, the beautiful thing about songwriting, I think, is that I mean, to me, the great joy of songwriting is that I'm left with these songs. I mean, the relationships come and go, and relationships are very transitory sorts of things, and they come and go, and they lose their importance. And what obsessed me and kind of it was everything in my life a year ago is absolutely nothing in my life this year, and I guess that's the whole nature of the thing. But what I get from it is the songs, and the songs are my way of kind of mythologizing my own past and kind of keeping a pulse running through my past, so that the songs themselves they're more real to me than the actual events themselves. So my kind of past in that way lives on through those songs, and I think that's the beauty of the whole thing to me. All of my songs attach themselves very strongly to particular situations, whether I've actually written them about them or not. They're to me, in my mind, all attached to particular situations that have gone on. So that I have the opportunity to kind of reinvent my past and mythologize it, to make it heroic and to make it bold and to make it full of love and a lot of things that perhaps it actually isn't, that it isn't like at all.
How is it then when, when these things become past, but you still perform these songs? Does that bring all this back, or do you just translate it to the next person?
No, I don't just translate it to the next person, but I write new songs for new people. But the songs themselves are written. The last thing the songs are written for is to make a record out of them. They're generally written to people, and they're written to flatter or to take revenge or to hurt or to make people feel good or better, or they're written for a host of different reasons, but they're pretty much written for other people. They're as kind of gifts in some kind of way to other people, and so the people that they are written for remain attached to those songs. I
don't know how to put this really, but I often found in your songs that there are two ways you write about women. There's one is very physical, how you describe it, and then there's the spiritual ones. But I've hardly found.
What other ways are there? What other ways are there?
No, but they're separate. You never combine that in one song. I find, and on the Boatmans Call especially, it's the spiritual side is very emphasized. I don't want to say persons, but even, that you even sense that.
I think that songs are written in different feeling in different ways, and most of my relationships have been quite short, and actually that's not true at all. So I'll edit that.
The newer ones, maybe.
The newer ones. I don't know. I forgot the question.
That in the past your description of women was always very physical? More certain features. You still do that, but somehow there's a very spiritual quality in the Boatmans Call, and maybe it's also that forgivingness and the.
I think describing a woman's physicality or whatever, if that's a word, physicalness is a spiritual thing.
I didn't mean it that way. I meant more the physicality of love. Not the.
I don't know if that's a word actually. Shouldn't.
Word, the physicality of.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my English.
That's my English isn't too good either sometimes. I don't know what you mean actually.
Yeah, it's hard to describe, but it's just in a way to me always kind of separated the lust from the love. When I hardly find.
I don't see any difference. I don't see any difference between the two, and I certainly don't think that sex is non-spiritual. I think it's quite the opposite. I think it's it's about as close to God as you can get, I would say. Or it can be. It can be about as far away from it as well.
Well, I totally agree on this one. God is something which I remember we talked a lot about this in the past, but you always kind of kept that a very personal thing. But on the last record, the Boatmans Call, I consider that your last record. I know there's a best
Yeah.
of, but that's a compilation. You speak very freely about that, more though than not so much in metaphors. I mean, really, and you also talked in interviews more about it. You know, so is that because you kind of sorted it out more for yourself and feel like you?
Yeah, to a degree, and I think that yeah, it's become stronger, and I've become a little bit more clear about it. Not that much clearer, but a bit more clearer.
And you're going to write about it now, right? For a book, you're writing a chapter.
I've written quite a lot of stuff about that, actually. I've written the introduction to the Gospel According to Mark for a publishing company in Europe that's releasing the Bible in separate books. They got different people to write the introduction to it. I mean, I'm just a bit more. I just feel that I have a bit more authority to talk about that sort of stuff because my beliefs in that sort of things seem to have consolidated a bit more. They don't sort of waver around quite so much.
When after the Boatmans Call was released, you were really proud of that record. And I mean, I know that from the past that usually right after the record comes out, you're always proud, and then I meet you 2 months later and you already start doubting. Has that lasted with that record?
Oh no, I like this record a lot. I think it's a good record.
And you also had you were uncertain where it would go from now because it is a change, you know. I mean, it is a beginning of something new for you, I think. And,
yeah, I mean, I think I tend to sort of think that when I finish a record that's it, and I can't do anything better, and all that sort of stuff, and but you know, I mean, and then I write new songs, and you know, I mean, I don't really know what the next record will be like at all, but I'm writing songs and stuff like that.
I mean, it also has changed the look of your live performances. And can you describe that a bit? And also, do you think if that's going to be for future concerts? Do you think that's kind of an indication that it's more going in that direction?
In what direction?
Well, you know, the lives that have changed very much.
I don't know. I have my back to it most of the time. I don't really know what's going on back there. But I'm told that there's quite a impressive light show going on, and I think I occasionally turn around and think, God, these lights look really good, which is something I've never done before. So that's quite nice. But I think that the major difference that's going on in the band is there's well, for me anyway, it's probably always been this way for the musicians, but I feel much more a part of the band, much more involved within musically. You know, so I think that's quite. It seems to be much more concentrated than before.
Has your confidence? Was that a boost on your confidence, that record, in regards of songwriting?
Yeah.
In what way?
Well, I think I'm able to write. I think I'm able to write really good songs, and I think that and I think that the songs they're good in that I can sit down, and there was a piano here, I could play most of them, and they would work in that setting of just in the most rawest, naked setting. These songs work, and a lot of other songs that I've written depend upon other things. They depend on a band and kind of energy levels and things like that. And these songs work in the most basic form. So that's quite pleasing.
We're gonna do a seminar in Vienna, right?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm teaching there at the Poetry Academy. I'm going to reintroduce corporal punishment and so forth.
But you're also gonna teach them how to write a love song, right?
Yeah, I'm doing. I have to do a lecture and I have to do classes on. I'm teaching on the love song. Yeah.
Have you ever done something like that?
No, I haven't. Should be quite interesting.
Do you teach Luke the piano or an instrument?
Not really, no.
But I mean, you have a really good relationship with Luke, right? And,
This is the wind-up question, isn't it?
you hate that question?
No, it's just when they always ask me about my kid at the end, and then it's time. Then that's it. I always kind of glaze over and.
No, it's not.
And
wait, I haven't finished the question. And having Luke, has that kind of changed your look at your own relationship with your dad in retrospect?
Yeah, I guess it has. Yeah. My father is kind of reared up out of I don't know where over the last few years, and I guess that's definitely got to do with me having my own son. And he seems to have his hand in just about everything at the moment. And it doesn't seem to be anything that I can do that doesn't make me more and more like him at the moment. I'm even teaching now, for example. Teaching. Yeah. So he's become very prominent in my life. I mean, he's dead, as you know. Over the last few years, yeah. That's quite interesting, right? There you go. I knew it was the last.
You get so silent when you talk about it. I have to kind of lean forward to understand. I mean, with Luke, I mean, having children is like, I mean, his love to you is kind of unconditional, you know. They just,
I don't know. I'd have to ask him that. I don't know. People say it's unconditional, but I think there's quite a few conditions, actually. As long as I buy him lots of things and play with him all the time and look after him, yeah.
But has that kind of, I mean, you always were never really happy with yourself as a person, but I mean, has that kind of changed through Luke's route? Because I think you're a pretty good dad from what
I'm a good dad. I'm quite good. When I'm around, I'm really good. I mean, I spend a lot of time with him, actually. He lives, you know, he lives half the time with me. Yeah, and I seem to do that quite well. I seem to have I have quite a gift with children in general, I think I've always been quite good with kids, and I find being a father really easy. I mean, I meet other fathers and other parents, and they seem to be kind of exhausted by the whole thing, and I find it really energizing and very easy thing to do, to be a father.
Are you more happy than nowadays?
I'm pretty happy at the moment, yeah.
Because Mick Harvey said in an interview that he thinks, you know, that you're still kind of not really allowing to be calm and happy, that you always invite chaos into your life.
Well,
But
I think that that's a necessary part of my life, and I think I will continue to do that. My pet theory at the moment is that I think that the creative sides of ourselves need a certain amount of, they particularly in what I'm doing, the place where it flourishes is in a state of kind of loss and longing about things. I find that that's where my creativity really comes out of. And if it isn't there, the creative needs within me create that, and it creates catastrophes in my life in order that the creative side of me flourishes. I think that the creative side of me is also the most destructive side of me. And I don't really believe this. I don't really believe that you can get much of substance out of living a life that is content. And I know that might sound like a kind of hackneyed old theory about things, but I actually don't really think that being content with things creates much space for the challenges, the creative parts of us. So me, I'm quite happy to be sad or whatever. But actually, I'm very happy at the moment. Things are going really well.
You look really
For me, yeah. I don't know about that, but I'm
healthy.
I'm not particularly healthy, but I'm everything keeps going really well for me at the moment, and I'm not kind of wanting for anything.
So in biblical terms, you're going from crucifixion to resurrection and back and forth.
Well, it tends to be that way, but I've never been so complete as my life doesn't seem to be so complete as it is at the moment ever, and that's quite good. I don't know how long that will last, of course, but that's certainly the way it feels at the moment. And on that note,
One last thing. What is the next upcoming things for you?
Well, I'm just going to do I'm going to do more writing.